Good morning, everybody. Welcome. This is Dina. I am filming a little segment that I will pop in later on in the week. Um, Actually, probably next week, because I have some gift stitching that I want to document, and I'm going to gift it away next Friday, and so I can't put this in until after I've given this gift. So this is a insert, I guess, that I have videoed a little earlier that I want to share with you. I have told you many times about my wonderful framer at Hobby Lobby here in Gainesville, Georgia. Her name is Mindy, and she is one of those people who not only is she bubbly and positive and wonderful to work with because she's so pleasant, but she has a great eye, and she's also one of those people who goes above and beyond every single time. I've shared many times with you about how Mindy called me and said, this isn't looking right, or I don't think this, I can't get this mat to work with this piece. I need you to come look at it. Or this most recent time when she framed Christmas Parade, she cut 3 sets of mats until she felt that she had it exactly right for the piece. It wasn't what we originally measured. We did a standard sort of matting of the piece, but because of the crazy border at the top and the people walking at the bottom with no border, because I left that border out, Mindy kept shrinking the space of the fabric so that the mat actually wound up framing the piece. It looks like the border's hanging from the mat, and it looks like they're walking just above the mat. It just looks perfect. I don't know of too many people that would try 3 times before they even call you. And she knows me well enough that she knew when she got it right, and she finished it. And then she said to me, however, if you don't like it at all or anything about it, you let me know and I'll change it. You know, she's so kind to make sure that I'm happy with my product when I pick up my cross stitch. She pins it beautifully. I've never had a complaint at all of it looking crooked. Are not looking absolutely perfect. So not long ago, when I was getting something framed, Mindy asked if I ever stitched anything on consignment. And I shared with her why I don't. I've had a bad experience in the past when I did stitch for somebody on consignment because they didn't want to pay me for my time. And that gets awkward and embarrassing to handle. And so when people don't stitch, they don't know how long it takes you to do something, and they don't appreciate it as much. So I don't stitch for hire, as far as somebody hiring me to stitch something for them as that they're going to gift to somebody or put in their home or whatever. I just decided at that point I wouldn't do it. So I explained that to Mindy, and then I said, but why do you ask? And she shared with me that she had a little phrase that her mother had on a plaque in their home while she was growing up that stuck with her, and she loves it. And now that, she and her husband have their own home, and she was looking to put that same saying somewhere in her house. And she's found it a couple of times on plaques, but she said they weren't very pretty, or they didn't match her color scheme. And so that let me ask her, well, what are the colors in your home? And she grabbed the little matte samples and said, well, I have this color blue and this color green. And she just laid out these colors for me on the table. And about that time, a lady came to ask her a question, and I grabbed my phone and I snapped a little picture of it without her seeing it. And so as we were talking, I said, well, what is the phrase you're looking for? I'll keep my eyes peeled and see if I see it for you. I'll let you know, because I wanted to know what it was. So she told me. And as soon as I got back to my car, I jotted it down, so I hope I've got it right. But anyway, I think it's close, if not perfect. I came home and I thought, I want to do that for Mindy as a thank you for all the hard work and extra care that she puts into framing my cross stitch. And I know I want to have a house on it. And I looked at her colors, and this picture came to mind. I had this in my stash. It's called Token of Love, and it is by Brenda Gervais. And I was going to stitch this for my bedroom because these are primarily similar to my bedroom colors. I have blues in there and browns, and these are kind of muted blues and browns. But I figured I liked this well enough I would do it for my bedroom, and I hadn't done it yet. And I decided when I started Teresa Koget's Let Love Reign that this would be a great complimentary piece to go with it, a small piece to go with it. And I would do it later after I finish Let Love Reign. So we're talking years down the road. And I'm going to keep it because I might wind up stitching it for myself down the road. But I felt like I wanted to graph Mindy's statement right here. And so I was going to need to shift some stuff around. And I liked the Quaker a lot, but I wasn't sure if Mindy likes flowers that much. So not knowing all of her taste, I figured I'd go with the Quaker theme and try to make sure I had her colors displayed in the house and the Quaker symbols. So I went to my sulky and I pulled out sulky colors that as closely matched the colors on her mat board samples that she had shared with me. And I literally cut and pasted a working copy of these motifs into something a bit smaller and a bit simpler, not quite as crowded. Mindy's very simple as far as she likes things clean and neat and minimalist sort of. So I took some of the busyness out and this is what I came up with. So this says, a house is built of brick and stone, but a home is made of love alone. And that was the phrase she liked from her mother's home. And so this is what I have done for her so that she can frame this, make it into a pillow, whatever she wants to do to go into her house. And I think it turned out really cute. I hope she likes it. And when I was in the, I hadn't started this yet. I had it all ready to go. I had picked the fabric and the floss, and I had my working pattern, cut and pasted. But I was in Hobby Lobby on the 29th of January to pick up the frame I used for my anniversary piece that I've showed you just recently. And Mindy was there, and she came running over and hugged my neck and said, hello, how are you doing? What you doing? And I told her, and she helped me pick out the photo frame. And we were chatting away, and I said it was for my anniversary, and she mentioned that she and her husband were about to celebrate an anniversary in the same month. They got married week after we did, but several years in between, of course. But they're a June wedding as well. And as we were talking, I said, oh, by the way, I have a friend who's coming to visit next Friday. This is this coming Friday, which will be February 7th, I think. And I said, she wants to bring some framing up, some cross stitch up for you to help her with, and she wants to meet you. And Mindy was so excited about it. And she said, let me check my schedule. And she came back and she said, I am working Friday. I'm off Saturday because it's my birthday. And she said, but I'll be here Friday. I can't wait to meet your friend. So you know what I did? I came flying home. I grabbed this project bag. I told my husband, I'm on a mission. I want to stitch this for Mindy for her birthday. I want to gift it to her when I take my friend to meet her Friday. I'm going to let them get all their business done and let my friend, get all her stitching, turned in to be framed. And before we leave, then I want to present Mindy with her birthday present, which will be Token of Love, revised, simplified, let's just say. These are extracts from it. And so I'm going to give her that for her birthday as a thank you from me. So I hope she likes it. I don't want to put this in the video until after I gift it to her because she did mention that she's found me on YouTube and that she watches me sometimes. So I don't want to put it in there till after she's seen it. That's why I'm filming it ahead of time. But anyway, so great fun. I loved the stitch. Absolutely loved it. I did do a lot of stitching on it. I did on the 29th, 544 stitches. On the 30th, I did 1,405 stitches. On the 31st, I did 1,328 stitches. And this morning, I did 185 to finish it up. It was just too late last night. I couldn't do it. So, and when you get tired, you make mistakes. So anyway, this is for Mindy. So I hope she likes it. I'll come back hopefully when I insert this in my future video, right after it plays, I'll tell you how it went when I gave it to her. But thanks for letting me share it with you, and always thank you for letting me share my stitching with you, because that's such a privilege. And I hope you're having a great month of stitching. It's February 1st, so I'm excited to start all the new things for February. I will be working on that today, now that I have finished my big project. So happy stitching to all of you, and I'll see you soon. Hi everyone, welcome. This is Dina, and today is the 3rd of February. I had to look. I have been stitching a lot today. I had an open day. I didn't have anything major that I had to do. I did run to the post office and send off some finishing to be completed by a finisher, and I had contacted her before Christmas and then decided to wait till after the Christmas crush to send her anything, and so I've put that off in the mail today. And other than running by the grocery store for a few things, that's all I did today, other than play with Coco, walk Coco. I had lunch here at home, just hung out stitching. My husband took a long bike ride after his Bible study today, and he drove down to the Silver Comet near Atlanta because it's such a long, flat, relatively flat surface, and he hasn't ridden his bike in a while, and so he wanted to go do that. And so Coco and I had just a quiet day at home together. We took 2 or 3 big long walks. I just let her go where she wanted to go and lead the way, and she meandered around. It was great. And so we had a wonderful time of it. So today I got quite a bit of stitching done. I first started out stitching my first 100 stitches today for my British baking competition game. This game was created by Jessie Marie Does Stuff, and I didn't see her video quick enough to join her and do it with her for the current season. And I mentioned it to some friends that I do planning with, and one of them is Lori, who is Once Upon a Stitch, and she's talked about it on her channel as well. But we came up with a scale of how many stitches that we would stitch for each of the events on the baking show, which includes a technical competition. We've decided on stitches for first in technical, last in technical. And then we came up with a number of stitches for the person who gets Star Baker, and a number of stitches for the Hollywood Handshake, and a number of stitches for the person who's sent home. And the way we paired it up, in case you haven't already seen Lori's video, is that before we ever looked at the show, the season, to know anything about the bakers, we came up with a list of 12 whips. And if you don't have 12, if you have fewer than that, just do them more than once if you want to do the game. But we came up with a list of 12 in order of however we came up with them. We just put them in a list of 1 to 12. Then we watched the first episode of season 6 of the Great British Baking Championship, and as the bakers' names were displayed on the screen, that's the order we took them in. You may have seen their picture before them, but you didn't know their name. So until you saw their name on the screen, that's the order. And we checked with each other, and we all got the same order. So that's how we numbered the bakers. The first one we saw was number 1. The second one was number 2, so forth, down to 12. And we just paired number 1 with number 1, number 2 with number 2. So whatever whip we had associated with that number went with the same number of how the baker was introduced. Now, as the game goes along, in the first episode, the person who got first in technical, the whip that was paired with them, we stitched the number of stitches for what we had assigned to that. The person who got Star Baker, we stitched on that whip that was paired with them. The person who got last in technical, we stitched stitches on the whip that was paired with that baker. So each baker has a whip associated with it. The baker that was sent home, we do our final stitches on that project and kiss it goodbye for this game because we won't see it again. And we have decided that we have a number of stitches for a handshake from Paul Hollywood, but if he doesn't give out a handshake, which he doesn't do on every show, then we take those stitches and put them on the whip affiliated with the person who was sent home, because we won't get to stitch on it again. So to add those extra stitches, it made sense to put it there. And then what we do is we have all week to stitch on it till Friday, and then we try to watch the next episode by Friday and make a note. Who was first in technical, who was last, who was Star Baker, did anybody get a handshake, and of course, who got sent home. We will put those stitches affiliated with that baker, and then next week, starting Saturday, this coming Saturday, we will pull out those whips affiliated and do the number of stitches minimum that was affiliated with what they did. So, for instance, if someone is first in technical, we've assigned it 100 stitches. So that's what we do. It's the first week, so I have stitched so far 2 of the 4 that I need to stitch. And today was one of them. So what a long introduction. I'm sorry. But I wanted to explain the game with you because I got an email today from a viewer who said, I would really like to do this game myself. How did y'all come up with it? How are you doing it? And so I sent her an email and went ahead and gave her the same scoring of what we did for points or number of stitches, so that if she wanted to jump right in, she could jump right in and do it with us. But today, the one I worked on was for the first in technical. And on the first episode, that was Ruby. And she's number 4. And so my number 4 whip on my list was Rudolph's Tree Farm. And so I had to put 100 stitches in Rudolph's Tree Farm. It hasn't been long since you've seen this because I just worked on it last month for a prompt. But I also put Rudolph's Tree Farm on my daily 30 acrostic. And you know, that's the one that requires 300 stitches. So even though I only needed 100 stitches for my baking competition, I decided to keep stitching on it. So I stopped at 116 or something when I finished that thread, and I took a picture and I posted it with my little thread of my group of planning stitchers that I do in my game with Donna and my friend Dee and Lori from Once Upon a Stitch. We have a little private group that we're doing just to try it out, see how we like it. And so I posted my progress today in there, and then I kept stitching. So I wound up getting a good number of stitches. I wound up getting 215 stitches. No, I'm sorry. I wound up getting 331 stitches in my Rudolph's Tree Farm. And I did that by putting in the last little color of sky here, some confetti stitches of blended sky that's peeking through trees throughout here. And then I selected one of the greens and I color completed one of the greens, and then I selected a second green and I almost color completed it. Now it'll have some more down here, but I haven't started stitching down here yet, and I didn't want to have to count that far. So I'm trying to fill in these spots here, and then I'll do this, and then when I get down to here I can do all of that without having to, go too far to count. That's usually the very detailed part where the people are, and you have to be really careful on the stitching on that. So I may actually switch and do that next, but this is going to fill in wherever it is. So I just took a color and completed it. Just said that's what I'll do. So that completed not only my baking competition and my bingo game, but it also completed my first prompt on my Daily 30 group. So there you go. Now tomorrow, I have 2 more prompts I need to do for my baking competition. I haven't even started my monthly requirements on my big stitching yet, my 500 stitches on this and that and the other. So tomorrow is Tuesday. I would like to finish my baking competition stitching. And that is good because one of them that I have to stitch on is Miss Christmas Eve. And unfortunately, she was affiliated with the baker that got sent home. So I won't be putting any more stitches in her for this game. So I'm glad she's on my monthly requirements for 500 stitches a month. But I have to put 225 stitches in her for the baking game, which is great because I can count that 225 toward the 500 that I have to do for the month. So that's a good plan. So I plan on doing that tomorrow, at least the 225. I have to do 50 stitches in Summer by the Sea for the poor guy that was last in technical, Anthony. So I may do that first and just do those 50 stitches on that whip, put it back away, and then go whole hog toward Miss Christmas Eve for the rest of the day, because that is the one I really need to do 500 stitches in. And if I work really hard, I might could get it in tomorrow. I don't know. I have a hair appointment. I'm getting my hair cut. You can see how long it is. I'm having to curl it and everything now. But if I have time in the day, then I will try to hit my 500 stitches. If not, I'll finish it on Wednesday. I'll get that done because I want to get at least one of those big monthly requirements taken care of. But I will tell you, I've had both of my whip go calls done already. And as you know, I have put on my wish list of what my goals are for the month. I have series that I'm trying to finish. And so this month already, I have stitched my final polar plunge, and I have completed that series. And today, I had to start with my friend Lori. That was another part of a series. This was my second one I wanted to work on, and it's my Pears series. And so today I did the second of 3 of my green pears. And this one has a peacock in it. I hope you can see it. It's very subtle. This floss is highly variegated, and it gets kind of pale. It's hard for you to see. I can see it a lot better with the naked eye than you can see it on the camera. But this is it. It has a beautiful flower pot here. And then that goes into this little flower pot, this little whole tall tree here. Then it has a peacock right here. And then it's just got this beautiful lattice work. It's supposed to be like the ground, I think. There's the first one that I stitched of the 3 pairs. The 2 birds with the tree. And then this has a peacock with the tree. And then my last one that I have to do is an alphabet. And so I will do it the next time that I have it on my list to start one of these green pears. The good news is that I could use the name Spring Green Pear for one of my daily 30 prompts because I need a letter G. And I used it out of the title Spring Green Pear number 2. So I hit another daily 30 prompt today because this today was a start and finish. And it was actually 839 stitches. So yeah, I have definitely hit the 300 required on that one. But I'm thrilled because I have finished both of my series new starts already this month. Worked out that way. So I'm happy about that. So now I have to kind of take a step back, and as soon as I finish this baking competition stitching tomorrow, then I have to jump right on my monthly requirements and start working on those. I'm excited about it. So that's been fun. It's been very fun, and I'm really glad at the progress that I'm making. I'm feeling good about that. I do have, as I said, Rudolph's tree farm is affiliated with one of the bakers. So I'm hoping that each week I'll get to put some stitches in it. That would be awesome. So you may get to see it again. So that's my stitching. I had a Zoom call tonight with stitching friends, and I got to finish my green pear while we were stitching. So that was a lot of fun to get to have a finish with other people to celebrate it. And tomorrow, as I said, have a great day of stitching. Not a whole lot I have to do, which is good, just one appointment. So maybe I'll get to hit my goal and get those 500 in Miss Christmas Eve. We'll see. Definitely hope to get it done in the next couple of days. So, all right. I think I showed you the pattern for spring green pears, but if I forgot to, let me show that to you now. It's from Annie B's Folk Art. She's got quite a few pear collections, and I'm doing, I think, 4 of them, 4 different colors. So, and I'm doing mine in these beautiful cottage garden threads. This one's page turner. So, there you go. That is the stitching for today. I am also excited to tell you that I have heard from 5. I've already heard from 5 of the 9 people that won something in my celebration giveaway. And I am thrilled because I just put the video up today. So thank you for those of you who've sent me your address already, because I can get those in the mail tomorrow, get them all to you as soon as possible. So if you are one of the people that I messaged to please go watch my upcoming video and listen for your name, please go listen for your name and send me your address. That means you've won something. Thanks again, everybody, for watching and for sharing what you're working on with me in the comments, and just being part of my stitching journey. Loving it and enjoying sharing it with you. I'm going to say goodnight, and hopefully we'll have more to share with you tomorrow. Happy stitching, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Coco and I are here today to tell you a little bit about my stitching so far today. I'm hoping to have more, but in case I don't, I'm going to go ahead and talk with you. Today, I wanted to start out my morning by stitching the 50 stitches that I needed in my Summer by the Sea. This is in my British baking game, and this was for the whip that was assigned to the baker who was last in technical on the first show, and that was Anthony. And Anthony is paired on my whips with Summer by the Sea, and this was a new start, and I hadn't stitched on it since I started it. So I'll remind you what it looks like. It's a Just Nan. It is beautiful, and I did upper left hand start in the border, and all that I had before was part of that one first stitch in the border that went around. And so today I looked, and I had also used it for the in knitting CO in the Daily 30 group, and the N was for Just Nan because that's the designer. So I knew I needed 300 stitches. So I just kept working on the border till I got at least 300, and I finished that strand of floss, and I wound up with 340 stitches in it today, and it looks just a little bit better. I'm thrilled. So I've got 2 colors of the border part of the way across. There are 2 in there. They're very close in color, and they go all the way to about right here. And I have 1 strand of that second color of blue all the way as far as you can see there as well, till my thread ran out there, and then I started back with the next color. So I worked in 2 different colors today, both in the border, until I had 340 stitches. So there you go, my Summer by the Sea, Just Nan. I picked it up today to hit that British Bake Off stitching, and then I went ahead and stitched extra on it so I could strike off another letter in my Daily 30 acrostic. So now I have 4 letters done, which is great. Sorry for this crinkle. I've got plastic in here to put my pattern back in when I finish with it so I can keep it fresh and new. I have made a working copy of this. This is in my project bag, my first one I ever put together from cross stitch that I did. My friend Sue helped me to make this. So this was my first of 3 that I've done so far. And I'm going to put this away now. I'm going to pull out Miss Christmas Eve. I need to put 225 of 500 stitches in it for my British Bake Off. And then I need to keep on going until I hit 500 to meet my monthly requirements. It's been a little backwards this month from what I did in January. Instead of starting on my monthly requirement stitches right away, I started on other things I needed to do. Starts I had planned with friends, or my British Baking Championship stitches, because I only have a week to get them done. And I have a whole month to get the other stuff done. So that may change my order in which I stitch things each month. We'll see. We'll see how this one goes. I can tell you that I have I have been remiss. I have not shared with you how my friend reacted to her quilt. And I was so excited about giving it to her that I mentioned it 2 or 3 times in the video before they visited. And then once they came, I never told you how it went. So I apologize for that. Thank you, each of you who asked about it in the comments on the last video. So I will tell you now. I had a couple of other small things for my friend, just little things. We usually give each other about 3 things, and three or 4 little things. And usually one of our gifts is sort of our main gift that we're giving each other. That's kind of how it has evolved over the years. So I had her open all her small things first, and then I gave her her big box, which was her quilt and her pillow. And when she opened it, I had it all wrapped nicely in tissue paper, and the pillow was the first thing she came to, and it was all wrapped up. So she took it out and she opened it up. She squealed, and she said, "Oh, it's beautiful!" And she turned it over and she saw the fabric on the back. And if you remember, that fabric was some I bought off of eBay, and they only had a little over a yard, and I have never seen that fabric before. So I was hoping that she didn't have it. When she saw the fabric, she squealed. She said, "You won't believe this. I've seen this fabric years ago." She said a girl in one of her groups that she's a member of had a maxi dress. And if you understand what a maxi dress is, you're showing your age like me, when we wore long dresses for a little while to the floor. But someone had made a maxi dress out of that fabric and wore it. And they had a picture of it on one of her groups. And she said she fell in love with that fabric. And she went looking for it. And she found a little tiny, tiny piece of it for sale on eBay. And she bought it. And she's got this little tiny piece of that fabric. And that's all she's got. She's never found it again. So when she saw the pillow, she was thrilled to death just with the pillow. And then I said, well, there's more in there. So she undid some more tissue paper, and there was the quilt. Well, my friend can raise the roof. I mean, she has a loud voice. She can really get loud, and she got loud. She was excited. She screamed. She carried on. She lifted it up. And it was fun watching her discover every piece of it. Because first it was, oh, these are such great scenes, all the little pieces of embroidery. Marlene, she loved every one of them. And of course, I told her the story about Marlene having embroidered those and then sharing them with me so that I could gift them to Cheryl in a way. And then I told her about finding the fabric online and how I had bought every bit of it that the girl had. I didn't tell her I had some left. Because next year I'd really like to make her some of those quilted bowl covers, those bowl cozies, with what I have left. So we'll see. But anyway, and then I pointed out that there was a label on the back and she hadn't seen it. And so she turned it over and found it and read it and had tears in her eyes and just told me how much it meant to her. She loves it that I make her something original that's for her collection every year. But this year was particularly special because I shared with her how my friend Sue took it home and quilted it so beautifully, and we went through all the different quilting in it and how she did a different color of thread so that the heart would show up, and just, you know, how sweet it was. And she just kept shaking her head saying, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. All your friends helped you put this together just for me. It was everything I hoped. I hoped she would love it, really, really love it. And she really, really did. So we had a great time with that, hugs all around, and that was extremely rewarding for me to see my friend really cherish something that's going to go in her collection that no one else will have. And I did tell her, you know, the part I did, I put the top together, and then I did the binding all around it. And I'm the one that designed the top. So there's my creativity in there and my time in there as well. But there's love all around, you know, from my friends to help me give her something special. And that meant a lot to her. So thank you all. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Marlene, for your part in this. And Cheryl, thank you. Asked me to share that with you. So it was good. Thanks to those of you who reminded me that I hadn't told you about that. I'm so sorry. I was so excited to give it to her. And then it was a little bit before I, you know, thought about it again. And I wasn't filming when I would think about it. So I'm glad you mentioned it, those that did. And now you all know it was a big hit. So that was fun. Okay, I'll let you get back, as I said, to what you were doing. I hope it's stitching. I have one more stitch I need to pull out tonight and get started on it, and that's Miss Christmas Eve. So I'll do that now. And I hope you are stitching. I hope you're getting to stitch. I hope you're enjoying it. Whatever you may be crafting, I hope you're thoroughly enjoying it. And I will talk to you soon. Happy stitching, everybody. Hello again, everybody. It is much later on the 4th of February. It's about 11:06 in the evening. I got off my Zoom call a little bit ago. I think we got off about 10 or 10:30, and had a wonderful time. It was the first time this group had talked with one another on Zoom, and we had a little bit of technical I guess, discovery to make sure everybody was on there and able to see each other and talk to one another, but it worked out. It worked out really well. So while we were talking tonight, I was working on Miss Christmas Eve, and I don't normally work on something quite that detailed when I'm on a Zoom call. However, I knew we were all just stitching and we were just chatting. I didn't have to be taking notes or paying attention. We weren't planning. We weren't, you know, doing anything that was requiring me to make note of anything. So I could just relax and really concentrate on my stitching and just listen and be just a part of the conversation when, you know, when it was necessary. I wanted to share something. So I thought I was going to try it just to see how it would go. And it did go well. I was pleasantly surprised. So I started working on Miss Christmas Eve earlier today because I needed to get, let me look at my spreadsheet, 225 stitches in it for my Great English Bake Off challenge for this week. And I wanted to get everything finished if I could by the middle of the week so that I could spend the rest of my week working on parts of my monthly requirements. Well, as it turned out, Miss Christmas Eve, you know, is one of my monthly requirements. She's one that I want to stitch 500 stitches on every month until I finish her. And so since I had to put 225 stitches in her already, I thought, well, I'll just keep going till I get my 500 before I even pick up another thing to work on. So I did that. Tonight I ended my stitching on her at 568 stitches. So let me show you what that looks like. Ta-da! I love it. 500 stitches really makes a big difference. You can truly, truly see it. All this green here is new. And a lot of this green right across here is new. There's some pink and red, kind of a hot pink, in these bows that have been filled in a little bit. But the majority of all of this that's been done is this dark green, all this dark green down in here, and some of this dark green over here, and the dark green in here. I did 3 colors. I didn't color complete them, but I worked on 3 different colors as I was going across the dress. I sort of did similar to Sarah Hughes's typewriter method. I looked to see what was my next color that I really needed to pick up on to get started filling in some of these holes. And fortunately for me, one of the colors, there was a lot of it available. It was at a good point where I was going to be using that color on both sides over here, which is great. So now I have this big section in here to do, but it's getting smaller as we go. I can really see a difference tonight after taking it off my floor stand. I could really see a difference. I'm looking over at my pattern and I can see what's left. I can't share it with you, but you know, I don't have it in Pattern Keeper, so I don't know how many stitches are left, but I'm thinking that based on what I've seen tonight, that this one should be definitely finished this year without too much stress or anxiety whether I'm going to make it or not. I do have to remember that it's not just the stitching I have to do, because then I have to go back and do all the beading. So, but yay, my first big monthly requirement that's through my Determined Stitcher group is met. I'm excited about that. So I will let you get back to what you were doing. I hope it was stitching. And I look forward to sharing more stitching with you as soon as I have it. Happy stitching, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. This is Dina. It is the 5th of February, and I'm here today to talk to you about my stitching. So today I decided to start working on my monthly requirements, and quite honestly just didn't think I was ready to tackle 500 stitches in Nativity today. So I decided instead to pull out my Royal Games 2. I know I have to finish it a lot sooner than I expected, so I thought I need to put a lot of stitches in it, but it's easier to follow, and it is generally bigger blocks of color, so it's an easier stitch. So I pulled it out today. And since my bingo call is whip of choice, that became my whip of choice today. So I stitched 116 stitches and posted it in my bingo game and kept going because I need to get as many stitches in this as I can. I had split my pattern into 12 equal parts, or relatively equal parts, and now I've had to go back and redo that and combine a bunch of those together into 1 month because I'm not going to make it in time if I don't. So today my goal was to finish 2 large sections so that next month, hopefully, I can finish one of the queens. So let me remind you, what I'm stitching is Royal Games 2, and I started on this queen. And I always start in the middle and work my way up, and then I flip it over and I work my way the other way. So today I put in 944 stitches in Royal Games 2. So I finished this whole sleeve here. I added more into her glove there. I came over here and finished her sleeve. Now is complete all the way to here. This is actually the border. There's nothing else over here until you get right here. So her shoulder will come up here. So now the next time Oh, and I came over here and I finished this. That wasn't finished either. So I finished that off. Now, what you will see in there that is space are for treasures and beads. So there's a few little places right in here and here and here for treasures and beads. So for her, when I pick her up next, I'll come up here and get her shoulder up to here. And I can go ahead and do her neck and head and crown, hopefully. She's got a scepter, or something she's holding here. And then there is a club symbol here. And then the extra part for the card that has the Q in the corner. But I tend to do that at the very end. So I would... My next month in March, my hope is to complete this queen, all the stitching in the queen. Now, if I have more time this month to put more stitches in her, I will. But I'm working hard on getting her to a point of completion because she has to be beaded and everything. So major, major accomplishment, 944 stitches in that today. So now my husband's getting ready for us to go to choir practice. We'll be heading there in a few seconds. We're going to go grab a bite to eat, go to choir, and when we get home tonight, I'll be spending time with him. So I won't be stitching anymore today, but I will be stitching tomorrow. I have friends I'm meeting for lunch tomorrow from church. It's we've just had one of the ladies' birthdays, and we have one in about 3 days from now. So we're going right in the middle of them, and we're going to celebrate their birthdays together. I think that's great. We're just going to go to lunch. They've both said they don't want any presents, so I'll try to be good and not do that since they don't want me to. They don't want anybody to feel like they have to do that. I hope you stitch while you're watching my videos because they tend to be almost an hour, right at an hour usually. But that's all the stitching I have for today. So I won't keep you, and hopefully we can talk again soon, tomorrow or the next day, when I have more stitching to share with you. So in the meantime, everybody, happy stitching. Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Friday night. It is the 7th of February, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about my stitching today. It has been a lovely day. My friend Lynn and my friend Juliana came over to stitch with me today. But first, as soon as Lynn and Juliana arrived, we went to Hobby Lobby because Lynn had a couple of things to be framed. And we had made arrangements to meet up with Mindy there at Hobby Lobby. She was working today. So they were in on my little birthday surprise. They knew I had it with me. I had it wrapped in a birthday bag, and I just put it down in a shopping cart and just kind of took it with me. So Lynn was introduced to Mindy, and Mindy did the stellar job of helping Lynn pick wonderful matting and framing for her 2 pieces and got everything worked up for her. And then as we were about to, finished with that, I said, "Oh, Mindy," I said, "isn't it your birthday tomorrow?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, well, I knew that. I remembered that. So I said, "I brought you a little something." And I took the birthday present and put it on the counter. Well, she was so surprised and so delighted just to even have a present for her birthday. So she read the card first, and I had put in the card, that I was giving her a birthday present simply because she had gone so far above and beyond all the time and took such good care of me and my friends that I just wanted to do it as a thank you for her. And then she opened the present and she squealed over the fact that she had cross-stitched, but then when she read the saying, she knew immediately when she saw it what it said, and she started to cry. She was so cute and so sweet and so grateful and so precious. And so anyway, I was tickled to death that I could do that for her and that she loved it. And then I leaned over and I said, I know a good framer if you if you need one. And she goes, oh, tell me who it is. You know, she's playing right along. And then she spun around and she said, I know exactly how I'm going to frame it. And she grabbed a molding off the wall and grabbed a couple of mats real quick and laid them down, boom, boom, and put the frame down there and said, this is how I'm going to frame it. And I said, I want a picture of that. So I'll insert a picture of it here. That's how she's going to finish it up. So that is going to be special. She's planning on putting it right in her kitchen so that she sees it every single day. So I am tickled to death that she liked it. So as we started to leave, we said, well, we want to go see the clearance items. We want to see if you have any good frames on clearance. And she said, hang on. We have a whole section to put on clearance because she said there was a glitch in the system and we ordered double of everything we ordered on Friday. She said, we're selling them for 75% off. She said, come in and look. And she took us back into the room where they do their framing because they hadn't priced them yet. And she said, any of them on this wall right here are 75% off. So the three of us looked. And I got 3 frames. Lynn got 4. And Juliana got 3. And I think the most anybody paid for any frame was $30. But these are beautiful, beautiful frames. So they're downstairs. I haven't brought them back upstairs yet. So when I bring them up here, I'll share them with you. But that was a score, let me tell you. So there was a frame there I wanted to measure to see if it would fit my Hulk Run Hollow. Because I'm going to make it a wall hanging, I think. But if I could have bought a frame that affordable, I could have framed it. But it's not long enough. It's wide enough, but it's not long enough. So I will be making it into a wall hanging, more than likely. So that was great. So we ran to lunch real quick after we finished at Hobby Lobby and came here and we stitched this afternoon. We had a wonderful time. I'm going to share my stitching with you that occurred today. And then we went by Juliana's house and picked up her mom and took her with us to dinner. We had a girls' night out for dinner, and the 4 of us went and had dinner together. It was great fun. It was really nice. So Juliana took her mom on home. Lynn rode back with me here, and we stitched a little bit. And then Lynn likes to read a little bit before she goes to bed at night. And so about 9 or so, she said she was ready to go downstairs and curl up in her guest bedroom and read a little bit. And I wanted her to have some alone time and downtime. So I stayed up here stitching and finished up my last piece I just stitched on. And so I finished up my stitching for the day. In the morning, Lynn is a very early riser, so she's going to come up here and stitch until I get up and get ready. And then we will leave at the same time. We'll take our own cars, but we'll leave at the same time and go to our stitching meetup tomorrow. And that way, whenever she's ready, she leaves to go home from there. So it is just a wonderful thing that we get to do whenever we can on the Friday night before our stitching meetup on Saturday. Because Lynn has such a long way to drive to get here. It just helps her break up the trip. But it gives us another day to stitch together. And Lynn and Juliana and I sit at different tables usually at the stitching meetup, so I don't get to talk to them that much while we're there. So this gives me a time with them, which is wonderful. So let me tell you what all I did today. So this is the second week of my British Bake Off Championship, my British Baking Championship game. We were to watch the game, the show, at least by today, and we can start stitching today, tomorrow, whenever we see it. We try to stitch it from Friday to Friday. And so I had watched it. I had it ready to go. I watched it a day early because I had company coming tonight. So today I started stitching on it. And it was a good thing because in this week, there were 3 people who got handshakes, and that's 150 stitches each. And there were 3 different people. And so as it turned out, I've got seven different things to stitch for because of the 3 handshakes. Fortunately for me, one person got a handshake and Star Baker, so I just totaled their stitches together. But that's 6 different projects I've got to stitch on for this week's show. Not even counting everything else I got going on. But these are small amounts, so that worked out really well. So let me show you what I did. The first one I decided to work on today was my Rudolph's tree farm. And I had to stitch 150 stitches in that because the baker that's affiliated with this whip for me got a handshake. So that was 150 stitches. So I brought up my tree farm and I did one more of these half stitches in here, these little blue stitches that are interspersed in the green of the tree. I got those done, and I got that done on both sides. And then I picked up a green, another nice green, and I stitched the green all the way down and across over here too. And then I picked up the third green, and I did it on this side. And when I did all of that, I came up with a total of 188 stitches. So I only needed 150. I got 188. So I didn't do that second green over here because this is affiliated with the game and that person wasn't eliminated. So this one might come back out again next week for me to stitch some more on it. So that's where it is so far. It's just filling in and filling in as I go along. I love it. So the next item that I decided to stitch on for my baking was a banner year. And that had a lot of stitches in it because that baker got a handshake and was awarded the Star Baker. So I had to get a total of 275 stitches in this tonight because we got 2 things. So as it turned out, I actually stitched 313 stitches. So let me show you what that looks like on my banner year. I'm working on the second one. I'm working on snow. And when I finished this last time, I had done up to here. So today I did the 2 ski poles, the 2 skis. I did this little snowflake here, and I did this tree. And that got me my 313 stitches. There's one little tiny motif, little itty bitty motif right here, but there's another one close by. So I'm gonna wait and do those at the same time the next time this is called. And I've been watching this show now for 2 episodes, and I can tell you that this baker that this is affiliated with, he's gonna be there a while, I think. He's really good. And so if that's the case, I'll be putting a lot more stitches in this, and I may actually wind up finishing this banner and going on to the third one because I've done the first one. I did that on the cruise. Started this one for the, right before my game started. And so if I finish this second one, I'll just go on and do the third one for this game. And that way I can finish the series, which will be great. So that was today's stitching on a banner year. So then I decided the next one I wanted to pick up would be the one that required the fewest number of stitches for this week. Well, not the fewest. There is one that's a little bit less. But it was a smaller number, and it was for Luke, and it was, he was the one sent home. So I had to do 75 stitches in his, and that means it'll be the last time that I stitch on this for this game, because this one, since Luke is gone, won't be called again. So this was my spring Quaker, and I had to do 75 stitches in it, and I had used it as a one of my acrostics. I had actually used it for 2 of them for O's, and what I said it was one motif on spring Quaker. Well, let me tell you. Right here, this motif is huge. So rather than have to stitch that whole thing when I only needed 75 stitches, is I went over here and I stitched this little motif first. And that little motif was 121 stitches. So I got more than my 75, but I also completed an entire motif, which let me count it for those two acrostics. So that worked out really well. I think it's a pretty motif. It's quite lovely. And I've got it done now. So the next time I work on this, I will probably do this start on the big motif in here. And I'll probably, if I put it in my acrostic, I will say work on one motif. I won't necessarily put it as complete a motif now that I know the next one's going to be really, really big. That way I could do it a couple of different sessions and before I finish it. So that was my stitching so far for my British Bake Off Championship. But this morning I did some stitching, and I did it for my bingo game. And because I had been working on it yesterday, and I still had it out on my stand. So while I was waiting on my company this morning, I went ahead and worked on Hawk Run Hollow, and I had to get 100 stitches in it for my bingo. So I did, and I want to grab it and show you what I did on it. So yesterday, when I started on this, I started on it for my monthly requirements to stitch half of a block in this month. So I did first all this border, which were 300 and some odd stitches around here. Finished off the border. So then this morning I started working on this is the one with the farmer, and this is the pea patch where he's growing peas. And so here are the peas that are growing up in the field. And so today only, I stitched 122 stitches in here inside the block. And that's what I used for my bingo game. So that was the first thing I did early this morning, and I forgot to share that with you until the very end here. But anyway, I think that's about everything for today. I will tell you this. Coco went to the park with her dad today. And when she came home from the park, she smelled so good, and she was kind of damp. And I said, "Did you get a bath today?" Because I hadn't planned on that. And my husband started laughing. And he said, "Oh, I wish she could tell you why she got a bath." So he came upstairs and shared with us that she had found a dead squirrel or something in the woods while they were hiking, and she rolled all in it. Got it all over. My friend Lynn said, "You know, doodles are hunting dogs." She said they do like to rub themselves in things. I said, "No, I didn't know that." Anyway, so my husband just put her right in the truck and took her straight to the pet pleasers and gave her a bath. So she smells really good now. Much to her dismay, I'm sure. Anyway, that was her busy day. Tomorrow will be another wonderful day for her because when I go to the library, my husband's very kind and takes care of Coco for the day. And so he will take her to the park, I'm sure, tomorrow as well. But I bet you he takes her to a different park where there's no squirrel. Just so he lets that get out of the way before he goes back out there. Anyway, I hope you've had a great day. I hope you're heading into a wonderful weekend. I know I am. I'm looking forward to it. And I will talk to you as soon as I can. And I hope to have a lot of stitching to share with you. Happy stitching, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is Saturday, February the 8th, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about our stitching meetup and about our stitching today and several other little things. So let's start with one thing that was sort of a carryover from a prior conversation you and I had. When I mentioned that I went by Hobby Lobby with my friends Lynn and Juliana, and they were having a big clearance sale because they had a double order on custom frames due to an error that was made in their shop. And so they put the duplicate custom frames on sale at 75% off. So we got to look through those, and each of us picked up a few of them in hopes that we would be able to use them down the road. So the first one I picked up is this pretty little thing here. I have used this molding before, and I really like it. And so I think this is one that I should be able to find something to fit in it. It is a 12.5 by 6.5. So I like it because the frames are already measured, and that tells me, you know, how much room I have to work with when I'm picking a design that I might want to stitch. So that's the first one I got. The second one I got, I thought would be a really nice, larger frame for a simple piece like a sampler or something that I might be doing down the road. It is a 17.5 by 14 3/4. So, you know, right at 18 by 15, just about. So this is a nice wood, looks almost like it's got wormholes in it. It's very casual, very nice piece that I would put on something probably similar to a sampler, in fact. But my real treasure that I picked up, and I have no idea if I'll ever stitch anything that'll fit in here, but I hope I will. I love this frame. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Isn't that beautiful? This is a 23 7/8 by 11 15/16. So, so we're looking at just under a 24 by 12, just under a 24 by 12. So, I think this would make a great frame for a beautiful piece of cross stitch. I just haven't figured out which one yet. But I'm putting these in my frame stashes because they were such huge bargains. And so if you're ever in Hobby Lobby and you want to look at custom frames that you can use, go to the back and ask if they have any on clearance. And that's what you'll get to look through, and you'll get to get them at great, great savings. So I'm gonna pause now and put these back away so I can talk to you about the cross stitch. So this morning I did get up early, and I came upstairs and I was stitching for just a couple of hours before I left to go to my stitching meetup. My friend Lynn had spent the night here, and she had gotten up very early. She's an early riser, so she got up about 6 o'clock this morning, and so she was up here stitching and listening to her book. And I got up here probably a little after 7, and I pulled out my stitching for my British Bake Off. I wanted to do stitches in my summer treats for that, and I'm going to move this needle here for a second. I left it on my floor stand simply because I got my 100 stitches needed for the British Bake Off. I got those completed. And I was able to then use that for my bingo game because I only need 100 stitches in bingo. So for my whip of choice today, I chose the summer treats, and I posted that I had met that. So let me show you what that consisted of. I hope you can see it. You can. Look, I started the wheel, and I did 120 stitches in that white color for that wheel. I'm ready to do the next color on the wheel, which is a more silvery gray color. And I plan on doing that maybe later this evening because I need 300 stitches in this for a prompt for my Daily 30 group. It is for, let's see, what letter is it for? It's for the letter I in Knitting CO. and that is for ice cream in summer treats. So not only is that word pictured here, but the ice cream cones are in there too. So that would fit. But I need another 180 stitches, I guess, in that to do that. So I still want to work on that some more. And it may be tomorrow before I get to it, but I just wanted to leave it there so that I could. I've got my needle threaded, got it on my stand there, so I'm ready to go. But I had to leave this morning, and I didn't want to take that big one with me. So instead, our group today, several of the people in the stitching group had decided they would like to do a start together. And it was to be a designer focus. And they decided this in December when I was not there. And so I don't know who to give credit for the idea, but someone came up with the idea, and I thought it was a great idea. So my friend Donna shared it with me and said that's what they want to do. And we want to do a free any freebie or any pattern that they have from Primrose Cottage. That was the designer that was chosen. So I had just printed off this pattern from Primrose Cottage's email. If you go to the Primrose Cottage and sign up for their email, you get a free pattern every month. And I thought that one was really pretty. And it's Winter Wonderland, so it's not necessarily just Christmas. I could leave it up all winter. And so I had decided I was going to stitch it on this beautiful 32 count. No, this is actually 25 count Storming Night Lugana. So it'll make a nice big pillow or flat fold. But this is what I got done today. I started it at the stitching meetup. I started up here in the top left, and I got my tree done, my snowflakes across the top. I'm coming down at where I could work in the space I had in my Q-snap today. And so I got those stitches done. I have not counted them yet, but that was just my start, for today for our designer focus at the stitching meetup. So I was excited to be able to do that. Now, I have also printed off the freebie for February from Primrose Cottage, and this is that one, Be My Valentine, which I think is very sweet. I just mentioned to one of my friends today at the stitching meetup that when I went to trade out my decor and I took down Christmas and I was going to put up Valentine's, I don't have that much Valentine's Day. I have a few pieces. I have a few pillows. I have maybe 3, 4, 5 smalls, little small pieces or small pillows. And right now I have them all in a dough bowl and they fill it up. And then I have my big Glendon Place beautiful heart on the wall. But that's all the Valentines I have. So next year in 2026, might find me stitching a bit of Valentine's to try to continue to augment my Valentine decorations. We shall see. So that means today I still have on my British Baking Championship, I have to still stitch Let Love Rain. I have to stitch 150 stitches in it because the baker that it's paired with, Dan, got a handshake in that episode, and so I need to stitch for that. However, it is also in my daily 30 as a prompt, so for one of the letters. It stands for the K in Teresa Kogut, the designer of Let Love Rain. And so I need to really do 300 stitches on it, so I haven't started it yet. And I have all week to get this done until next Friday, so I'm okay there. So I think what my plans are going to be right now is I'm going to spend a little time with my hubby because he's been very gracious. I've had company last night and we went out to eat dinner together, us girls, my friend Lynn and my friend Juliana and Juliana's mom and I went to dinner. And then today I was at the stitching meetup and went to lunch with several friends from the stitching meetup, and then we were there till 4:30. So my husband and I just had dinner together a few minutes ago. He had taken a long run today, so he's getting a quick shower, and we're going to watch the most current episode of Beast Games tonight, and then we'll see where we go from there. So I don't think I'll be getting any more stitching done today. That may have to wait till tomorrow after church. That's okay. I've had a wonderful weekend. Lynn and Juliana and I had such a good time going to Hobby Lobby, and then surprising Mindy, and then getting a surprise of our own by getting those wonderful frames. And then we stitched. We stitched all afternoon. We went to dinner. Then Lynn and I stitched last night. And then Lynn and I stitched this morning before we went to the stitching meetup. And then I stitched a little bit at the stitching meetup, as you saw. But I really enjoyed visiting today. My friend Donna even asked me, had we changed personalities, because I was the one going around visiting everybody and she was sitting down trying to get concentrated on what she was stitching. It's usually just the opposite. But you know, I hadn't seen everybody in about over 2 months, because I was gone for the December stitching meetup because I was traveling. And then in January we canceled due to weather. So I hadn't seen anybody since November, and here it is February. I had a lot of catching up to do, which was fun. I enjoyed it immensely. So that is my haul with the frames. It's my stitching from today's stitching meetup and my stitching just at home this morning. And now I'm going to go spend some time with my family, curl up with Coco on the couch with my hubby and watch some TV. And hopefully I'll have more stitching to share with you tomorrow. So in the meantime, I hope you are getting a lot of stitching done. I hope you're enjoying everything you're working on. Until we talk again, happy stitching, everybody.
Ball? Huh? No, I guess not. No? Okay. Okay, wait a minute. She's really gardening.
Yep.
Hey, you want me to throw it? Say. All right. Oh, I got it. There you go.
Now she says, I dare you to get the ball.
Okay, let me go get that ball. She's gonna let me get it
Oh,
this time.
you got it that time.
Yeah, okay. You're so funny. You're so funny. You tired?